Unfortunately, Ben Simmons suffered an injury that will leave him out for about 3 months with the Philadelphia 76ers, which means that the Rookie of the Year is pretty much wide open because Simmons seemed like a shoo-in with his size, ball handling, playmaking, as well as ability to score inside the paint. Now, Simmons could come back, set the world on fire, and still win the award, but it's a safe bet that it's going to be going to somebody else. So, if we can look around the league a little bit, who are some candidates to take home the Rookie of the Year trophy this season in the NBA? Well, there is Ben Simmons' teammate Joel Embiid, who is finally going to be playing after 2 years of injuries as well as some really funny tweets. And I think the strength of Embiid is his versatility because on any given night he'll be going up against a center who he can beat with his athleticism, just running up and down the floor. But if you can manage to keep up with him, can you defend him on the low block? Because he's got a lot of moves down there as well. And he's a legit 7 feet, so good luck blocking his shot. But then he can also hit from outside as well. So Embiid has a million ways to beat you, and it's going to be really tough for NBA teams to find a way to stop him. He's also going to grab a fair share of rebounds, which never hurts in an award race. Scouts love him. They believe that Joel Embiid really is a special player. But there could be some things blocking his way from the trophy. One of it is competition, as he's going to be competing with Jahlil Okafor, who is no joke on the low block as well, and he will be commanding a lot of minutes at the center position for the Sixers. And then there's also defender, athlete, and haircut extraordinaire Nerlens Noel. And all three of these guys have different skill sets, and the Sixers are going to have to make a decision on who they want to keep, who they want to trade. And while I do feel that they will come to a decision with these three centers, there's a question of how long is that going to take, and the longer it takes, the worse chance Joel Embiid has at really taking off and winning the trophy. But with how talented he is, he could come in from day one and be way too good and the Sixers just go with him immediately. Next up, we have Brandon Ingram of the Los Angeles Lakers, and day one, he can shoot. And that's a huge ability to have in the NBA today. Whether you're a veteran or you're a rookie, if you can shoot, you're going to make an impact, you're going to put up points. He's also versatile because if he gets matched up with someone smaller on a switch, he can take him into the post. But if he ends up on a bigger body who is a bit slower, he could also use his quickness and agility to get by them and going into the paint. He was also able to grab quite a few rebounds in college, which is never a bad thing again. But also, he's pretty smart offensively. He might have a thin frame, but he knows how to get inside. He also has some nice playmakers on his team with Jordan Clarkson as well as D'Angelo Russell, so he's going to have guys who can pass him the ball. However, he will be starting the season on the bench as Luke Walton wants to go with the veteran Luol Deng, and I can't blame him if he wants to win more games immediately. And while I do think Brandon Ingram is going to be getting a lot of minutes this season, regardless of if he's starting or coming off the bench, that's definitely going to hurt his chances, but with how much of a scorer he is, it might not matter. Now, Jaylen Brown, on the other hand, his minutes restriction is probably going to make this impossible, barring an injury for the Boston Celtics. They already won 48 games, they're looking to make a playoff run, and while Brown should be very exciting, they have established players on the wings. Jay Crowder is one of the better two-way small forwards in the league, and funny enough, Avery Bradley is one of the better two-way shooting guards in the league, so I think Jaylen Brown could be very good for them, but in terms of winning the Rookie of the Year award, I don't like his chances. Now for Dragon Bender of the Phoenix Suns, he's 18 years old, and he's 225 pounds at 7 feet, so he may not physically be ready to log heavy minutes in the NBA just yet, and it's a safe bet that he's probably going to get bullied in the post more than once. But with all that being said, he's also a 7-footer who can shoot from everywhere, and that's valuable, and he's going to be able to put some points on the board. So Bender may be able to score enough to where he can grab consideration for the Rookie of the Year award, but it's going to be tough. He also has competition with Marquise Chris, who's another candidate for the award. Chris may be physically farther along than Bender is. He's also very athletic at the power forward position as well. There's a chance he's going to dunk on more than one guy this season. And while he's not the shooter that Bender is, he's not bad either. These two are going to hurt each other's chances. They play the same position. It's a nice thing to have for Phoenix. I don't know if either one of them are going to win the award. And Chris Dunn is in a similar situation because many people say he might be the most NBA ready right now. And it makes sense. He's got good size, physicality, can beat someone off a dribble, can get inside the paint, he can finish well as well. But he's got Ricky Rubio to deal with, and Rubio is probably the option right now for Minnesota if they want to just win the most games, because they're trying to win at this point. They are also better when Rubio's in the game. Plus, Thibodeau's not one to normally play rookies. Now, Chris Dunn could break that mold because he's supposed to be really good, but that situation at point guard, it's going to hurt his chances. Now, Buddy Hield, he has an opportunity to play a lot of minutes for the New Orleans Pelicans. And like Brandon Ingram, the shooting is huge. I mean, he may be the best shooter entering the NBA this season from the draft. And his competition, I mean, he's got Etuan Moore, who had a very good month for the Chicago Bulls last season. There's also Quincy Pondexter, who is a two-way wing, who might be the best win-now option. And then there's also Solomon Hill, who's a two-way player as well, who's definitely going to play because they gave him a lot of money in the offseason. So there's definitely some competition, but I think it's very possible that Buddy Hield is logging 30 minutes a night for the Pelicans pretty quickly. And if he can combine the outside shot with an ability and willingness to attack inside, very good chance that Buddy Hield is your Rookie of the Year, especially with Ben Simmons out. And if he's attacking the rim and drawing contact and getting to the free throw line, he shot 88% there from college. So if he's getting to the line at least a couple times a game, it's basically guaranteed points, and that could be the difference. Not to mention that Anthony Davis is going to be drawing as much attention from defenses as possible. Buddy Hield, I think there is a very good chance that Buddy Hield is hoisting up the Rookie of the Year trophy once this season is done. Jamal Murray is in a slightly similar situation in the sense he's a very good shooter as well, and if there's anybody who's a better shooter than Hield, it might be Murray, and the Nuggets are going to be asking him to score. But like Hield, I want to know how willing is he to attack the basket. He's got a thin frame. He's actually pretty alright at beating guys off the dribble, but that was in college. This is the NBA. It's a different animal. But they drafted him for a reason. They want him to shoot. They want him to take a lot of three-pointers and be an offensive burst for them, the Denver Nuggets. He's also got Emmanuel Mudiay, who's shown signs as a good playmaker already, so he's going to have someone who can get him the ball. In terms of competition, Gary Harris is a very good 3-and-D player. He's not the natural offensive player that Murray might be, but that's going to hurt his minutes. And then Will Barton is a similar player to Murray, but I think there's a decent chance they play off of each other. But Murray's natural shooting and scoring ability could get him there. But if I had to pick a top three, I would say Buddy Hield is probably not my number one because I think he could be starting and be a big-time shooter. Next would be Brandon Ingram, who I still think is going to play high 20s in minutes, but coming off the bench is definitely going to hurt him. And then after that, we're looking at what's going to happen with some of these other teams. You know, are the T-Wolves just going to take on Chris Dunn pretty early on? Are the Sixers going to trade away Okafor and Nerlens quickly to get Embiid in there? I don't know, but I really like Buddy Hield or Ingram. And so I think that'll do it. You know, if Ben Simmons was not hurt, I think he'd be the clear-cut favorite for this. But because he's out, I think there's a decent chance it's somebody else. But again, Simmons could come back and be amazing. And of course, I didn't name every single rookie here. Could definitely be someone else winning the award entirely. So, should be fun, and I'm out.